Hey guys, what's up? Today I have part 2 of my Infernity Road to Mediocrity. I actually like that name, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep it. Anyway, what you guys see in front of you right now is the current deck that I'm running. It's pretty similar, so I guess I didn't do too bad of a job. If you notice, the monster count is a little lower, the trap count is a little lower, and the main spells added were Upstart, Rhoda, and Foolish Burial, just because those are kind of important cards to the deck. You'll see most of them used throughout this, and you'll begin to understand why they are important. One thing that I do need to address, I guess, I really wanted this to be like a kind of live series, basically, so you guys can hear my thought process, see how I play. But as you guys saw with the last video, the program I use slows down the gameplay, and it does that with really every game, and I'm currently working on that, and if I ever fix that, I will be more than happy to have some live duels. But with this deck especially, you can't really afford to have it slowed down that much, because if you see a combo in front of you, you really just want to go on with it, or at least I do. Maybe some other players are like, if sometimes you need to stop short, you need to stop short. I'm not necessarily an Infernity player, so I'm sure some people out there disagree with me and say, oh well, there are some times where you need to stop short. But anyway, today I have 3 duels for you guys. I consider them to be learning experiences. Some of them go my way, some of them don't. You will see. And there's actually one where I just kind of make it up as I go, and it turns out it looks like I know what I'm doing, but I'll get into that when it's time for that. Anyway, I will be doing these at least one deck every 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it more often than that, but one deck every 2 weeks. And again, they're going to be either competitive decks or just fun decks I want to learn. Anyway, I will talk to you guys in a sec, because I will be doing post commentaries, I guess you could say, over the duels that I did have. Basically letting you guys know where I feel like I did something right, where I feel like I did something wrong, and yeah, all that good stuff. So for our first duel, we have Infernities versus Lightsworns. I don't open up too well this game. Granted, neither is my opponent drawing into 3 Lilas, but luckily I do have Upstart, and Upstart allows me to draw into Grepher. What Grepher does, he will allow me to send the Archfiend from my hand and a Stygian from my deck to the graveyard. So basically, I am set up for next turn. I do have the Stygian in there, and I do have the Archfiend, which will help me with Necromancer plays. I do draw into Bottomless, which means I don't need to waste the Stygian just yet, so I get to hold on to that later. And from here, I don't want to say I just do, Infernity things, because first off, that would make it sound like I know what I'm doing, which I still really don't, yet. But one thing that I can say, one thing that I guess I've noticed, is that you need to pay attention to your grave, and you need to pay attention to how many Stygians you have in there and how easy it will be for you to recycle them. Basically, what I mean by that is, if you make your plays, but then you somehow miscount how many Stygians you have in the grave, so maybe they're both banished, and then you maybe use Archfiend's effect to add another Archfiend, but both your Stygians are banished, you're basically screwed right there. So that is something that does come to bite me in the butt later, but we will get to that when it comes to that. So yeah, pay attention to your grave, and yeah, we'll move on to the next duel. Next up, we have another game against Lightsworns. This duel, there's a lot I could have done right that obviously I didn't do right. Like, for example, right there, I set Stygian. Granted, I don't know what I'm playing, but I didn't really have anything to lose by attacking into the face down with Stygian, because if it's something like Raikou that would just destroy it, it sets up my graveyard anyway. If it's something that couldn't destroy it, I get damage off. Anyway, so next turn comes around, Stygian's obviously in the graveyard. I go into Summoner Monk, summon another Stygian, and this is what I was talking about before. I didn't really pay attention to what I had in my graveyard. So rule of thumb for me is I always want to get Archfiends out of my deck when I go into plays like this. But if I had added an Archfiend right there, I would have had nothing to get him onto the field, so he would have just been sitting there, which is not really good at all. So that was a big mistake. And from there, I just searched Infernity Launcher because I wanted something, and then I Diamond Dyer popped his Raikou just because I was really afraid of it for no real reason. Right here, I make really the play that, if anything, cost me the game. As you saw, I used the first Lavalval chain to place Archfiend on top, and then I used the other one just to kind of send something to the grave. It was a really stupid play, and then I followed up with even another bad play. I would just at that point forget it. Anyway, if there's anything I can, this is probably the biggest learning experience and the most important thing I can teach, or maybe not teach, but pass on to you guys. If you lose, understand why you lost. Like, looking back, this was a poorly played game, and I can see like there are a lot of things that I did wrong, and I know how to fix them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So if you lose, don't just say like, oh, my opponent, sacked me, oh, he did this. Like, I don't care who's lights horns. Like, they do sack, they're lucky, whatever you want to say, but I lost that duel because I made a lot of misplays, and that is something that people have to understand. It's how you get better. Like, recognizing your fault is really a big key to understanding how to better yourself. So that is one thing, like, that is the biggest and most important like learning tool out of that video. Anyway, moving on to the next one, where things definitely do improve a little bit. Now moving on to game 3, which is against Spruce, and is the last duel of this video. Now this duel I don't necessarily open up poorly, but I don't necessarily open up well either. And one thing I want to talk about right off the bat is don't do that. Early in the game there is really no reason to blind MST. Granted, I did hit a mirror force, which does end up being very, very important later down the road, which you'll see, but it wasn't really necessary. You should save an MST for later down the road when you actually need it, but that's just my 2 cents. Anyway, what I did right there was I emptied my hand with Grepher so I can make the Infernity break live, especially after he flipped Vanities, which I think he should have waited on. That allows me to destroy his face down, which also gets rid of Vanities. Now, honestly, for the rest of this duel, that play right there, the Diamond Direwolf play, was the only real plan I had, if that makes any sense. I knew he was going to negate it with Turtle because there was really no, you don't want to lose your Beast Warrior with Fusions. So I knew that would open up a play later down the road, which is where I go into Shark Knight, steal his Susanoo, and then I just continue to open up plays and do whatever I need to do to get the monsters I need on the field. Okay guys, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys took something out of that video. I know that through playing all those duels and through playing a few others that didn't get recorded, I actually have learned a decent amount about this deck, and I can say that this deck is actually a lot of fun. It does take skill, or maybe not skill, but it does take time to learn the deck. It's not just a deck that you can pick up and do amazing with, which is something that I actually like in a deck. I don't really like it to be, oh well, you just pick it up and you can play it right away. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But yeah, if you guys want to check this deck out, if you guys want to try it out, I have links in the description to the videos where I found help for this deck for its current state. So I will put all those links down below, and if you want to check those out, by all means, feel free. With this deck, I'm not sure how many more videos I'm going to do. If I can fix the Fraps issue, then I have at least one more video before the quote-unquote finale of this deck. If I can't, the next video out for this deck will probably just be my how to, maybe not how to play it, but somewhat how to counter it, the pros of the deck, the cons of the deck, all that good stuff. So hopefully you guys look forward to that. So I think that's it. Again, if I forgot anything, I'll be sure to put an annotation somewhere. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, hope you learned something or maybe took something away from this, and I will talk to you guys later. Later, guys.